Hello everyone and welcome back to our Portuguese homestead. So you see this correctly, the walk and talk is back. Those who have been watching for a little while would know that before I got pregnant I would do these walk and talks every now and then where I would share kind of what I've been thinking about, as well as share a little walk in our area here. But pregnancy takes about 3/4 of my brain, as does taking care of babies. So I wasn't able to do these for a little while. But now, a little over 9 months out, I'm kind of feeling better and thinking a lot more and hopefully able to share my thoughts in a bit of a concise manner, but we'll see. So if you're not interested in my thoughts and feelings, I would click away now and I'll see you next week when we have a vlog with some of the things we've been doing on the land. If you are interested, maybe pause and get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea, maybe put this on while you're doing the dishes, as I like to do with podcasts. And then, yeah, let's get into the subject. So I'm not sure what the title of this video is going to be, but my goal for this video is to kind of make you think about the concept of self-sufficiency, because it is a hot topic these days, especially over the last 2 years, and it is kind of part of what we're doing here, but I also want to make you think and kind of share our perspective on the whole situation. So this video has been inspired by a comment that I get a lot, especially over the last 2 years with the pandemic. And the comment usually goes something like, wow, you guys really made the right choice at the right time. You're now able to be self-sufficient and have control over your own life and take care of yourself in that way. And I totally understand this comment, so it's not to shame anyone and put anyone down, but what I'm reading from that comment also is a kind of feeling that we have stepped out of society, stepped out of the system, whatever you want to call it, and that we are now isolated and completely taking care of ourselves. And there are a few things in there that I want to kind of discuss a little bit more in depth. This was also the goal for the live stream that we did a couple weeks ago, but I feel like maybe it didn't come across quite as in depth as I had hoped. So here we are. First of all, I think some of you might underestimate how isolated we are, because we are within walking distance of 2 villages that still have people in them. There's the basic amenities that you would need. Puck school is there, and that school is very important for us because that is a way for Puck to really ground, and for Bo in the future, to really ground here in Portugal, learn the language, kind of be more integrated into Portuguese society than we might be. And so we're really not that isolated. It might look that in the videos because I don't show the neighbors, but that's mostly just for privacy reasons. So we're not isolated, and with that comes that we're also not really outside of society. We have other people to consider. We are subject to all the regulations that have come out through the pandemic. We also just do our part in the whole thing, and it has also never been our goal to completely step out of society. While there are obviously some things that we don't agree with, society will always be there, and you'll always have to be in contact with society in some type of manner. So it's never been the goal to completely isolate ourselves. And so my question then also becomes, why do people want to do that? Why is that the goal, or why does it seem to be the goal for so many people who want to become self-sufficient? Why do you want to be isolated? I just want to question that, because that's not our goal. And I think going into the next kind of topic here, I think it's also not possible to do everything yourself, and in that sense to become completely self-sufficient. So I wrote a little list of all the things you would have to do to just meet your basic needs. For food, obviously we garden, and that's also because I enjoy growing plants and food and things, and it's part of our goal to grow more of our own food. But if you want to grow all your own food, that comes with a lot of work, and don't let anyone tell you that it's not a lot of work, because they're probably lying and trying to sell you a course. It is a lot of work, whatever approach you take, and then it's just not even just the growing, but also the processing for storage. The cooking from scratch takes a lot of time, as you see in my videos. It's a lot more that goes into it than just like putting some plants in the ground and then calling it a day. So that's vegetables, but you can't live off vegetables because they're not really calorie dense. So then you need some type of calorie crop in the form of maybe potatoes or wheat or another type of grain. And then you also need protein if you want to do that in a form of beans. They need shelling. We have chickens for the eggs, but the type of chicken that we have needs feed. We need to buy that. So that's also, again, something you're not doing yourself and we'll never be able to do ourselves. In a future video, I'll talk more about chickens because I want to get into breeding chickens and stuff. It sounds very fun to me, but alas, for now, we have these chickens. And if you want to do meat birds, then you need quite a few birds, depending on how much meat you want to eat. And you also need to buy a lot of food for them. So all the homes, or some of the homesteaders you see here on YouTube, they do all the animals. So they do sheep, they do pigs, they do a few cows for the milk, and then a bunch of chickens for the meat. And what they do show, but what I want to question is how self-sufficient are you? Because they buy in so much food for those animals that it's never possible to feed all those animals off the land, especially with the types of chickens that they usually keep, because they're just not able to forage 100%. So we always need to buy food. Here in Portugal, you would need to buy food mostly throughout the summer for grazers, because it's just dry for 6 months straight usually. So that's one other thing that you can not do 100% yourself. Anywho, as some of you suggest, we need to get goats, because then you can get the milk, and that sounds really nice and easy, but that's just another chore on the list. Sure, they can help with clearing, but they also want to get into your vegetable garden. So it's just an awful lot of work that I'm not looking to get into. So with the chickens, the goats, then we would have a cow for whatever, and then we need more meat, so maybe a pig or two. That's all work. And then you just have the food. So going on, you need to heat your home. So we do that with firewood. If we want to get that off our land, that requires chopping down trees, chopping them into smaller pieces, then chopping them so that they fit into our fireplace. Also, just let it dry for 2 years, because it needs to be dry to burn properly. That's a lot of work, so I don't feel bad for buying firewood at the moment. I hope in the future we can kind of do that more off our own land, but that's not what we're doing right now. And then you also always need to make a little bit of money, and I know this is an unpopular take, so to say, because people don't like to be reminded of this fact. But the two things that will always be true about life is that we need to pay taxes and that you will die at some point. We also need to pay taxes. We need to pay for healthcare, whether that is private or public. You need to pay for your car. The car needs to run on gas. You need gas to for cooking. Cook needs things for school. We all need clothing. All those things cost money. You're not going to make them all yourself. So I'm already tired thinking of all these things. So can you be self-sufficient? Can you do it all yourself? I don't think so. And I don't think so that people have done that in the past. Humans have survived all the time that we have because we have always worked in community. And community also allows for some sort of specialization, even if it's just on the basics, because doing all the things that I just listed also requires a lot of knowledge, and I don't think many people can learn all those things properly, very in depth. So yeah, you'll always need other people to provide the other things that you also need in life. So that is to say, I think it is not possible and maybe a bad thing even to talk about self-sufficiency, because you need community. And so community sufficiency is more the term that I want to use. And then in conjunction with that, maybe talk more about self-reliance. So while we do want to learn the basics of a lot of things, like growing a few vegetables, having chickens, growing something else for the meat maybe, but also learning the basics of how our car works, doing some basic mending on clothing, that type of thing. I think that's good for everyone to know, but not everyone can learn everything. So those are my thoughts on self-sufficiency. We are not isolated. We don't want to be. We obviously have some critiques on society and the system being capitalism, and we don't see the future very brightly. But I think with the things that we are doing, learning the basics, trying to build community, trying to work together with the people who are already here, providing for ourselves, helping others, we try to prepare ourselves for the future, and that's our goal here. Our goal is not to be isolated, but to be in community, although not see people every day. That's my take on that. In the comments down below, let me know what you think on this. Is self-sufficiency something that you're striving towards, and do you see that? How do you see that picture? Do you think it's even possible? What new skills are you trying to learn to prepare yourself for the future? Let me know. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed these thoughts. I hope they make you think a little bit. Next week will be just a normal vlog with things we're doing around the land, and I hope to see you then.